The Buffalo Bills have a rookie who's well outperforming his draft selection. Bills Mafia, if you remember with me just about 3 weeks ago, we heard the terrible news that Dwayne Carter, our 2024 third round pick, tore his Achilles. And you know what? That left us as the Bills Mafia a little angsty, a little worried, especially going into this 2025 season, knowing that we had the Ravens coming up in week one, knowing that we just had some rotational pieces that maybe are already suspended, that we are thin as it is. But of course, the Achilles injury to Dwayne Carter, and then just the addition of some of these rookies, we were like, gosh, what is gonna happen? What is gonna be? But you know what? The Dwayne Carter injury and these suspensions, I actually think, has opened up a doorway for Deon Walker as our fourth round pick in this class to well outperform his draft selection and the capital that we spent on him. So today I want to talk about him, but the twist of this video is that the injuries that we've had and the suspensions that we've had have actually opened up the door for highlight after highlight from this guy. And we're going to look at those clips today. We're going to check out a couple of his highlights, but our fourth round pick, 109 overall, is already flashing the traits as a difference maker. He's 6'6", 345 pounds. He's a huge dude. And suddenly it looks like the Bills, Brandon Beane pulled a fast one on the league and got a great player late in the draft. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get right into it, I just want to remind you, my name's Colin. This is Crack the Table. We are all Bills, no breaks. Every single day, we're breaking down Buffalo Bills content. So if you don't have a home where you're getting news every single day for the Buffalo Bills, feel free to like, subscribe, join our community. We're having conversations every single day in the comments. Make sure to like. And then again, it helps me out if you just say, go Bills down in the chat. I do appreciate that. But I want to talk a little bit about this guy and why he fell in the draft and why he is such a great steal for us. But Deon Walker came out of Kentucky with the tools that don't come around very often. He's got a physique, a physical set of tools that are amazing. He is massive. He's long, surprisingly agile. People have called him the dancing bear. And in 2023, still in college at Kentucky, he had 7.5 sacks. And he was a massive disruptor on the interior, right? The kind of stat line that gets scouts buzzing, but actually in the 2024 season, his production really dipped. He only had 1.5 sacks, only 5 tackles for loss, and his tape showed that too often his pad levels were too high, and he was kind of standing straight up when he should be getting low and using leverage to his advantage. But then came the Senior Bowl, where the struggles actually against polished offensive linemen continued, and scouts were using the word like boom or bust, or even just a project player. But a year earlier, mock drafts had him in 2023 as a potential top 15 pick in the NFL draft. But by April, he was sliding because of his play in his senior year and because of his play at the Senior Bowl. By that time, Buffalo now has scooped him up with a fourth round pick, and he's on our team. And we've been hearing stories about him all summer, about what the coaches have been saying, which we'll get into today. But also, there was every single team passed on him in the first, second, and third round, but the Bills chose to pick him in the fourth round. Now, I want to just show you here a second. Actually, I want to show you some tape from even this last week against the Miami Dolphins. Check him out here. This is on the big play that he had. This is on the big Terrell Bernard interception at the end of the game. So check this out with me. It's in slow motion, but check him out. He gets past the offensive lineman and just gets right after Tua. He gets right into his face, makes sure that he can't see, throws the ball right to Terrell Bernard. But again, even on some of these other plays, he's just getting in the backfield and he's playing and he's getting after the running back. He's making big tackles. He's stuffing the line. You know, PFF had him graded as one of the top defensive linemen in this last game. And with Carter sidelined, the Bills suddenly were in a position that they needed a guy to come in and perform. And again, with these suspensions, with Hoyt and Ogunjobi out, our defensive line was already thin. But this guy who can come in and play 3-tech, especially now with Ed Oliver being injured and out a little bit, has been perfect for Deon Walker to come in and play. You know, he wasn't even supposed to be thrown in this soon, but he's come in and he's been performing well, and he's just been showing out as a player. Again, football sometimes doesn't wait. People get injured. players, tear their Achilles. And by week 3, this guy is already on the field for nearly 30+% of the snaps. And instead of looking like a liability where the opposing team can just run up the middle on us, he looked like he belonged in the 3-tech and maybe even some 1-tech plays we go on. So what exactly, though, has he done? Again, let's dig into some more of the numbers. Through 3 weeks, Walker's snap count is still limited. Only 35 total plays logged, but officially the stat sheet is pretty quiet, but he had some of those highlights. And actually, I'm just going to even go back to this and let this run a little bit here. You could just check this out. He's been really disruptive. He's been making some really, really great tackles when he was needed. But again, as we watch the tape, and as Bills fans just continue to tweet about this guy, it's so he's showing a level of consistency, and we love to see that. A guy who's has had a low pad or has had a high pad level and has stood up a lot. He's working on those things, and he's starting to get even around the offensive lineman and being disruptive very early on. Again, when you maybe you don't make the tackle on every single play. Again, I just think of the last play of that game against the offensive lineman where Terrell Bernard got that last second interception, or the interception to kind of seal the game. A guy like Deon Walker, he was in there, and he didn't get the sack, he didn't get the tackle, but he was the one who potentially collapsed on the vision of Tua so that he could make the play, and ultimately so Terrell Bernard could jump the route and make the play happen, right? So the preseason gave us some previews, but week 1, 2, and 3, we've been seeing a growth from this guy. He's explosive still on his first step. He's got long arms that are controlling offensive linemen. He's tossing massive 350-pound men to the side as a rookie, and he's got a high motor, and he's been pretty steady so far, even though, again, his conditioning has been a concern, and even though he hasn't been perfect in the run game, he's still kind of tall off the snap, and sometimes giving away leverage, and sometimes just getting absolutely destroyed on double teams. He's still showing as a rookie, as a 4th-round pick, that he's outperforming his draft selection, and he's going to be a contributor for us for weeks on end throughout this season. And the Bills staff is already, again, acknowledging that, he's been a full go since camp, says Sean McDermott. He's been praised because of his readiness. He's always there to step up. Bobby Babich, our defensive coordinator, has said that Walker does things in his size that you don't expect, specifically his agility, specifically his footwork. And that's coach speaks. That's just saying we can work with this. We can get a lot out of this guy. And as he continues to get assimilated into the NFL and have consistent reps, I think we're going to continue to see a guy like this grow as a pass rusher on the interior, but also as a run stuffer. And again, when we take TJ Sanders and we've got Okunjobi and Hoyt and Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa on our front 4, our defensive line, it's going to show a level of promise going into these upcoming years where we're going to have a lot of strength. And again, you could say what you want about it. Over the last couple of years, one of the things that I think the Philadelphia Eagles have done really well is they built a defensive line that's strong, that pretty much nobody can run on, that pretty much nobody can get around, because they are strong and built tough in the middle. That's exactly the game plan that Brandon Beane has been doing over the last couple of years in drafting a Dwayne Carter, who's potentially hopefully good for next year, but a guy even again like Deon Walker, TJ Sanders, and some of these other guys, and Ed Oliver also just showing very early on in the season, outside of his injury, that he is a game wrecker. And that's, again, 109 overall. He was a 4th-round pick. That's where Buffalo spent their draft capital, and that's where right now it's feeling like robbery. So here's the bottom line. We lost Dwayne Carter. We've got some injuries with Ed Oliver. We've got some suspensions with Okunjobi and Michael Hoyt. But a rookie who is mostly overlooked by the rest of the NFL is already showing flashes as a long-term starter in the NFL, and that is the steal of the draft. It's early signs, but they're pointing up, and these plays, the things that he's already doing on the field, his strength, his ability as a playmaker is just incredible. We love to see that. But hey, if you love breakdowns like this, if you love daily Bills content, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and I'll just welcome you into our community. Make sure to put a comment down below. What do you think about Deon Walker? Is he here to stay? Is he going to get more snaps as the year goes on? Let me know in the comments. We'll see you later. Go Bills. Peace out.